At this place in history, we are on Church Street in Burlington, and I'm with Steve Perkins. He's the executive director of the Vermont Historical Society. And Steve, you brought a guest. Who's this?
I did. So we have Ron Redmond here. He's the executive director of the Church Street Marketplace, and we're going to talk about the history of this place. You know, I come down here to shop. My wife loves it. I mean, it's so much fun year round. But, you know, how did this start? So I don't really know. So I think Ron's going to help us out with this situation.
Yeah, that would be great.
Thanks for being here, you guys. So back in the late 1940s, after all these soldiers came back from the war, they wanted to live not in cities, but they wanted to move to the suburbs. And what happened is downtown started to see a real decline. And as more people moved out, cities were in trouble. And so by the 1970s, the federal government did all of these funding programs all throughout the country to try to build these cities back up. And people here in Burlington were seeing that. A lot of people were moving out of Burlington. South Burlington was growing, the suburbs were growing, and they didn't want to have happen here what was happening in the rest of the country. So when they looked at Church Street, which was the commercial and community center for the region, they were afraid that they would lose that position in the marketplace, and they needed to do something.
So was this always a shopping area, Ron? I mean, were there lots of stores? What was here?
It was always a commercial center for the region. So we had local stores here. We had back in the 50s, had gun shops and uniform stores. There were apothecaries. There, all kinds of things that were happening. This was always the place to be.
This idea of a pedestrian outdoor, closed street mall, is that an American thing?
It's centuries old, if you think about it. And what's interesting is one of the founders of Church Street, Bill Truex, was a student studying overseas, was in Copenhagen, walked on the street called Stroget, which had been opened to traffic for years. A year later came back, saw that it was closed, saw what vibrancy closing the street brought to Copenhagen, came back here and decided this is what the city needed.
So what was his name again?
Bill Truex.
Well, thank you, Bill Truex. Let's go shopping in Burlington on Church Street at this place in history. Let's go.